Here's a little show DVD from Caprikorn Farms Saanan. We're a milk herd. Every once in a while we get an animal that's really showy, and therefore, whether we like it or not, they're really valuable. So we have a separate little Saanan show goats catalog, and some of the people that buy from us because we have big milk are secondarily interested in how they show. So here we go. Here's a yearling class, and we've got Zilda, who's probably the best looking yearling in a long time, and the judge says, gee, I can't wait to see her when she matures. But in fact, if you're a show person, the mammary's too big for a yearling, and by the time she matures, it'll be way too big for the American Show Goat Association. So Yilda's not really a good prospect. Now, if you're a milk person and you care a little about looks, then Yilda also happens to be the top milking yearling here. Children would be a fabulous choice for you. That doe in second is also a Caprikorn Farms doe. The 4-H'er bought her when she was a little kid. She reserved it in advance. So I'm not doing a good job of showing this doe. She looks better in person than she looks on this tape. And if you're interested in Zilda, you can find her on page 34C of the milk list. Here's Yashoda from the Kathmandu section of your sales list, and Alice in her cute hat. This doe is a daughter of Vishnu, has 91, and of course her grandfather is the awesome son of 2 times national champion, 4 times first, Aloha. Yashoda may have a lot more success as a 3-year-old because she's an immature 2-year-old. She's got that high, tight mammary that's gonna hold up and be more impressive when she's 3. It looks like the 4 could be a little more smoothly blended. I wouldn't say those front legs are absolutely perfect. Alice is letting her roach here. Her dam has a 91, and this is a snow daughter, really more of a milk buck, although his dam in turn has a 90. If you're interested in either of the 2-year-olds, you can find Wairika, the first place doe, on page 28A, and Yashoda, the second place doe, on page 28D. They both come from the Kathmandu family. If you're a confirmation person, you may want to look at the other choices you've got in the Kathmandu family. And Vishnu's dam, in turn, was a GCH named Prana. Beautiful doe, a Kathmandu daughter. So for a gambler, reserving a doe kid from your Shoda might be a really good move. There's 15 milking yearlings here, and obviously we thought she was the second most milky because we brought her out to this show. Here comes Wairika. She's fighting her handler just like her dam did. The only way Alice could get the dam to go 10th in the milking class at the Nationals was to carry animal crackers in her hand to get the doe to lead. So she wants to be stubborn just like her mother. But the mammary's so good looking she's going to go first in this class anyway. And Wairika may be a good choice for a show person to reserve a doe kid from because Venice has only got 4 mature daughters and all 4 of them have 90s. So the strength of the whole family is there, and it's better to work off of that than just have some stick-out doe that might be a fluke because the rest of her family's not that strong. Yeah, the judge is doing that checking the teeth thing. I don't consider either of these 2-year-olds to be a drop-dead stone cold winners. So Yashoda got an 88 and Wairika got a 90, and that was within a few weeks of this show. This doe looks a little unbalanced here, even though she's in first. That right side looks a little smaller, and I believe that I did milk them out evenly ahead of time. So for somebody that wants to take a little risk here, a doe kid from either of these would be a good choice, especially if you're looking for a bunch of milk in addition to the confirmation. The judge eventually places them, I believe, not in this order, but the doe in first stays in first, the doe in second goes to third, and Yashoda moves up to second. Here are the 3-year-olds. Alice is holding Meadow Zoo, number 757, which you can find on page S19 of your show list. Megan, who's helping us, we gave her the doe that we think is slightly stronger to see if the judge would judge the people or judge the doe. And the doe we think is slightly stronger is Ixtapa, number 742, and she's on page S11. All the 3-year-olds start with the number 7 because they were born in 2007. And then the number after that is the number of the kid. So Ixtapa was the 42nd kid. Meadow Zoo was the 57th kid. And finally, I'm holding 741, who's the full sister of Ixtapa. Her name is Xanadu, and on the show list, she's on page S11 also. The doe Alice is holding was a little foray we made into showland. Probably should never have done that, but we had the opportunity. The thing I love about Xanadu, the doe that I'm holding, is the teats. They're straight down or slightly pointed in with a very strong medial. And the Saanan breed as a whole has teats that go too far out, set too far wide. So when we got somebody with a strong medial, we would go with the offspring of a strong medial doe with an 89 and let the offspring of a weak medial doe with a 91 go down the road. Meadow Zoo, the doe that Alice is holding, the teats look like they're hooking forward just a little bit. What the judge is eventually going to do here, Megan's the one with the blue jeans. She was a volunteer, and the judge is eventually going to do exactly what Alice and I were hoping, which is put Megan in first with Ixtapa, who went best in show 2 weeks later against 93 does. Meadow Zoo has the depth of pedigree show-wise. We're a milk herd that picks out a few showy ones. And Meadow Zoo's sire comes from a show herd that probably most of the time was never on test. Looks like the judge is about to make her final placings here. There's the motion. First, second, third. Ixtapa first, Xanadu second, and Meadow Zoo third. And now it's time to go on to 4-year-olds. Here come the 4-year-olds. Alice is walking in front with Meadow Violet, who you can find on page 31 of the milk list. And Meadow Violet and all her family wear gold collars. They come from our fabulous doe, Meadow Nymph, that took us 30 years to get. She comes from Meadow Spring, Tina Gilchrist's great doe, who had a 90 and a GCH and a top 10 record. And I'm holding Rocket. Rocket's got 2 legs. Looks like the teats are pointed a little forward today. Mammy's a little loose. She's old. She is 4 years old, and she milked through all winter, and she has a 3,800-pound record, I believe, in 305 days. So she's probably got too much milk for the American Showgoat Association. And the judge is putting Violet first. I don't know if you can pick it up on this DVD, but firstly, Violet has cream, which is not a happy thing for Saanan breeders. And secondly, she's got a bump on her nose, which is definitely not a happy thing for Saanan breeders. But the judge apparently felt that her strengths outweighed that and placed her first. The only doe in the 5-year-old class is Macy, whose true name is Capricorn Sharks Veronica, and you can find her on page S16C of the little show lists with every single one of her show placings, good, bad, or indifferent. And Macy is living in 2-leg purgatory, and she would be a finished grand if I hadn't chronically overbagged her at one of the shows. So here's the judge making that final placing, and as you can see, Macy's got GA coming out of her ears. She's a GA doe. Alice has got the front feet too close together. And here's the final lineup. Let's see what's going on. Alice has got Meadow Violet, the 4-year-old winner. I've got Ixtapa, the 3-year-old winner. And then behind me should be the 2-year-old. Megan's holding Wairika, who fights all her handlers. That's the 2-year-old. Somebody's behind Megan with the yearling. Ariana is towing Macy around, and then Alice with Meadow Violet, the 4-year-old winner. Here comes Ixtapa, the 3-year-old, with Scott failing to set her up correctly. And behind that would be the 2-year-old Wairika, who's hard to lead. And the judge is going back and forth. She likes that 5-year-old capacity and general appearance, but she's afraid of the mammary. And you should be too, because that is not a show family. And if you go there just because the doe is a 91, you're likely to be disappointed in offspring. We don't mind. We'll be happy to have the offspring here making giant milk records. And finally, the judge puts the 4-year-old is today's grand, and the 3-year-old is the reserve. And we got no good film from Ring 2, but basically all the placements were the same, except, really interesting, the 3-year-olds were placed Xanadu first, Meadow Zoo second. You'll recall she was the 3rd place doe, first ring. Ixtapa, the big winner the following week, best in show over 93, was in 3rd place in the 3-year-olds, which is why, if you're a show person, you know you've got to take your doe to more than one show. And for the final lineup in Ring 2, grand was Meadow Violet again. And reserve this time was Xanadu, Ixtapa's sister. Ixtapa being reserved in Ring 1. Okay,